You are standing outside. It's an ordinary Tuesday. The sky is blue. You are looking at your phone. Then everything turns white. Not dark, not an explosion. You hear first, white, pure, absolute, blinding white. Your eyes receive more light in that single millisecond than they have in your entire life combined. The flash is not an event you watch. It is something that happens inside your skull. Your retinas fire every signal. They have at once. Your visual cortex overloads. You do not see the bomb. You see the end of normal. You blink, but blinking does nothing. The light is already through you. If you are within 5 kilometers of the center, you don't get a second blink. But you are 7 kilometers away. You're one of the ones who gets to feel what comes next. You're one of the ones who survives the first, second, and you are about to find out that surviving the first second is only the beginning. 0 seconds. The weapon detonates at roughly 1,800 meters above the city. This is called an airburst. It is chosen deliberately. A ground burst digs a crater. An airburst spreads destruction across the widest possible area. The fireball ignites in my Sicarandes. It is hotter than the surface of the sun. Not as hot as the core of the sun, hotter than the surface. The surface of the sun is approximately 5,500 degrees Celsius. The fireball at detonation exceeds 100 million degrees Celsius. At ground zero, the air itself becomes plasma. People, buildings, streets, they do not burn. They are converted directly into gas. There is no body to find. There is no building to collapse. There is only superheated vapor where a city block used to be. This happens within the first millisecond. You are 7 kilometers away, and none of this is visible to you yet. You are still recovering from the white. Your hands are raised to your face. Your palms are pressed against your eyes. You feel warmth on the back of your neck. Not heat, warmth. Like standing too close to a campfire. Like opening an oven door. You haven't heard anything yet. Sound is slow. Light travels at 300,000 kilometers per second. Sound travels at 343 meters per second. The flash arrived instantly. The sound is still on its way. You lower your hands from your eyes. The world returns, but it's the wrong color. Everything has a green yellow tint. Your pupils were blown open by the flash. The world looks like a photograph taken with a broken filter. You turn toward the city. You see a column of fire rising from the skyline. Not a mushroom cloud yet. Not what you expected. Just a vertical pillar of orange and white fire climbing toward the clouds. It is rising faster than anything you've ever seen. Rise. It is rising faster than a rocket. The cloud begins to form at the top. The famous shape assembles itself in real time before your eyes, and then the sound arrives. The sound is not a bang. It is a pressure event. It is the atmosphere itself being punched. The overpressure wave expands outward from the detonation point at supersonic speed. It arrives at your location, approximately 21 seconds after the flash. You hear a sound that has no good comparison. It is lower than thunder. It is wider than any sound you have experienced. It fills your chest before it fills your ears. Then it hits you. You are knocked from your feet, not gently. The overpressure at 7 kilometers is roughly 3 to 5 CI, pounds per square inch. That doesn't sound like much, but 3 psi is enough to collapse. Unreinforced brick walls. 5 psi ruptures, EARDRUMS. At your location. Windows don't crack. Windows explode inward. Every glass surface within line of sight shatters simultaneously. The cars on the road around you rock on their suspensions. Some flip. Loose debris, trash cans, signs. Bicycles become projectiles, moving at hundreds of kilometers per hour. You hit the pavement hard. The wind screams past you. Then, within 2 or 3 seconds, it reverses. The blast creates a vacuum behind it. As the pressure wave passes, the air rushes back toward the explosion to fill the void. You are pulled in the opposite direction. This is the return wind. Buildings that survive the outward blast are struck again from a different angle. Structures that were weakened going out collapse, coming back. You are on the ground, arms over your head. Glass is settling around you. Dust is everywhere. The air smells of ozone and something chemical, something that has no natural equivalent. You try to stand, your ears are ringing. Not a gentle ring, a solid, continuous tone that blocks all other sound. You look at your hands, they are shaking. Your palms are cut from the pavement. You are bleeding, but you don't notice yet. Your body is still in the first wave of shock, the kind that hides pain. You stand up. The street is unrecognizable. Not destroyed, but wrong. Every surface is coated in pale dust. Cars have been pushed sideways. The street lamp is bent at a 45-degree angle. The thermal pulse travels at the speed of light. It arrives the same moment as the flash. You were looking down at your phone when it hit your forearms, which were exposed, received a dose of thermal radiation in less than a second. You don't feel it yet. The pain from burns often arrives delayed, especially in severe cases. But you notice something when you look down at your arm. The skin on the top of your forearm is a different color. Not red, not blistered, a pale, almost white color. This is a superficial flash burn. It will blister badly over the next hour, but right now it does not hurt. What you see when you look toward the city tells a different story about heat. Fires are starting. Not one fire, not a building on fire. The entire visible horizon has fires beginning in dozens of simultaneous locations. The thermal pulse ignited anything combustible that had a direct line of sight to the detonation point. Curtains in open windows, dry leaves on the ground, dark-colored clothing on people standing outdoors, wooden roof, structures, anything that absorbed enough of the radiant energy in those first seconds ignited spontaneously. These individual fires will merge. They will merge into something that has its own name. At Firestorm is not just many fires burning. At Firestorm is a weather event. The heat from thousands of simultaneous fires creates a column of rising hot air so powerful it draws in fresh oxygen from surrounding areas at hurricane force speeds. The wind feeds the fire. The fire feeds the wind. The system becomes self-sustaining. Temperatures inside a firestorm can reach 1000 degrees Celsius. Nothing inside survives it. Not concrete, not steel, not underground shelters with compromised ventilation. The firestorm that consumed Dresden in World War II killed tens of thousands. That firestorm was caused by conventional bombs. What is beginning on the horizon right now is orders of magnitude larger. You watch the smoke columns multiply. You count them before you lose count. The sky above the city center is turning black. Not the black of a storm. A thick, dense, greasy black. The kind of black that comes from burning plastics, rubber, chemicals. Fuel an entire city's worth of synthetic materials, all combusting simultaneously. The air where you are standing begins to taste different. A faint bitterness, a hint of something acrid. The wind is pulling toward the fire. You can feel it on your face. The firestorm is beginning to breathe, and you are standing in the direction it breathes from. You look around the street. There are other people. Some are standing, like you, confused, intact, staring. Some are sitting on the curb, holding their heads. A woman 3 meters away is crying silently, her mouth open, no sound coming out. An older man is walking in a slow circle. He is still holding a grocery bag. The bag is intact. He is looking at it like it is the only thing that makes sense. A teenager is recording on their phone. The phone still works. Some phones work, some don't. The electromagnetic pulse, the EMP from a nuclear detonation, can disable unshielded electronics, but EMP effects are unpredictable. Distance, yield, burst, height, all affect what survives. Some cars start, some don't. Some traffic lights are still on, some are dark. The teenager's phone records, but has no signal, no bars, no data. The cell towers still standing are overwhelmed in seconds by everyone trying to call. Simultaneously, the network fails, not because it is destroyed, but because it is overloaded with fear. You reach for your phone. You call the first number in your contacts. It rings. It rings. Again. It rings 11 times. No answer. You call someone else. Busy tone. You call emergency services. A recorded message tells you, all lines are busy. You lower your phone. The realization arrives not like a wave. It arrives like a slow flood rising. The city you were in this morning does not exist anymore. The office building where you had a meeting at 9 a.m. is rubble, or vapor, or fire. The coffee shop where you sat for 20 minutes is gone. The streets you know by name and instinct have been rearranged by force, and no one is coming to help you. Not yet. Not for hours. Maybe not for days. The emergency services that would respond to a flood, an earthquake, a terrorist attack, The air terrorist attack are dealing with something those systems were never designed for. The hospitals closest to the blast have no walls. The fire stations inside the impact zone have been destroyed. The police precincts near the center have been vaporized, along with everyone inside them. The response infrastructure has been hit at the same time as the population it was meant to serve. You realize this is it. This is what it means to be on your own. You are 7 kilometers from the center. You are standing in minor rubble. You are cut and burned and deaf from the ringing in your ears, and you are one of the luckiest people within 20 kilometers. You cannot see it. You cannot smell it. You cannot feel it. And that is exactly what makes it the most dangerous thing in this entire situation. Radiation. The detonation released 3 forms of radiation, almost simultaneously. The first prompt radiation arrived with the flash and the blast. It was instantaneous. It was gamma rays and neutrons traveling at or near the speed of light at your distance. You received a dose. How large a dose depends on many factors. Whether there were buildings between you and a blast, whether you were indoors or out, your exact distance, the yield of the weapon. But at 7 kilometers from a moderate teal detonation, your prompt radiation dose is likely survivable. Likely, the second form is already beginning. The fireball has sucked up thousands of tons of vaporized earth, steel, concrete, and biological material from the area below it. This material has been irradiated. It is now riding up inside the mushroom cloud as the cloud rises to 12 kilometers, 15 kilometers. Into the stratosphere, the material is carried outward by upper-level winds. Then it begins to fall. This is fallout. Fallout is not ash. Fallout is not dust in the ordinary sense. Fallout is particulate matter, tiny particles of radioactive material that drift down from the sky like a deadly snow. The particles emit gamma radiation. They emit beta radiation. If they land on your skin, they cause burns. If you breathe them in, they irradiate your lungs from the inside. If they contaminate water or food and you consume them, they irradiate your digestive system. The fallout from a ground burst is heavier and arrives faster. The fireball of an airburst like this one reached higher, so fallout disperses over a wider area, but arrives more slowly at any given point. You have time, not much, but some. Fallout begins arriving closest to the detonation point first. The heaviest particles fall faster start at your distance. You may have 1 to 2 hours before significant fallout arrives. This window is everything. The third form of radiation is the ongoing emission from radioactive isotopes in the fallout. Radioisotopes like cesium-137, strontium-90, iodine-131. These will contaminate the environment for days, months, years. Iodine-131 has a half-life of 8 days, dangerous immediately, but it fades. Cesium-137 has a half-life of 30 years, strontium-90, 29 years. These will be in the soil, in the water, in the food grown from that soil, in the milk from animals that grazed on contaminated grass. But that is later. Right now, your only job is to understand one thing. Distance and shielding are the only tools you have. The rule is simple. Get inside. Stay inside. Stay away from windows. The center of a building offers more protection than the edges. A basement offers more protection than a ground floor. A concrete or brick building offers more protection than a wood-framed one. Every meter of solid material between you and the outside world reduces your dose. You have a window. Use it. You make a decision. You stop standing in the street. You move. You look for the most solid structure you can see. Not the closest building, the right building, brick or concrete. At least 2 stories, something with a basement, or at least a ground floor interior room far from any windows. You find it a concrete parking structure half a block away. Not perfect, but the concrete slabs are thick. The interior is shielded from the sky. You move toward it. Other people are moving in random directions. Some are running toward the city, running toward it, looking for family, looking for anyone. You understand it, you feel it yourself. But you know what running toward the city means right now? It means running into the highest radiation zone. It means running into the firestorm. It means choosing love over survival, and sometimes people make that choice, and you cannot judge them for it. But you go to the parking structure. You go to the second floor, not the top, not the ground. The second floor of a multi-story concrete structure is one of the safest improvised shelters available. The roof above absorbs fallout. The ground below absorbs it from below. The concrete walls provide shielding from the sides. You find an interior stairwell. You sit against the inner wall. Other people filter in 5, then 10, then 20. No one is in charge. No one has a plan. A man in a business suit is pressing his jacket against a wound on his leg. A woman is sitting with 2 children pressed against a body like wings. The children are not crying. They passed through crying and came out on the other side, into a quiet that is harder to look at. Someone has a battery-powered radio. Old technology, reliable technology, static at first, then a voice, a government emergency. Broadcast. The voice is calm in the trained way that emergency broadcasters are trained to be calm. It says, "Shelter in place." It says, "Shelter in place." It says, "Stay away from windows." It says, "Do not consume tap water." It says, "Assistance is being organized." It says, "Stay calm." It does not say how many are dead. It does not say if there are more weapons coming. It does not say how long you need to stay. You look at your arm. The pale skin from the flash burn has started to blister. Small, fluid-filled blisters rising along the top of your forearm. It starts to hurt now. The shock is wearing off. Pain arrives as the body reclaims itself from emergency mode. You wrap your forearm with a strip torn from the inside of your shirt, clean fabric, away from the dust and debris outside. Someone in the group has a first aid kit, a small one. The kind people keep in cars, without ever expecting to use it. You share it. You share what you have. This is the thing no disaster simulation fully captures. The way strangers become temporary family in the first hours. The way resources appear from pockets and bags. A bottle of water, a bag of chips, a phone charger that is useless but someone offers it anyway because offering feels like doing something. An hour passes. The emergency broadcast repeats the same message. Shelter in place. Stay inside. Do not go out. Then the broadcast changes. A different voice, more clipped. It says, "A nuclear detonation has occurred." It names the city. It says this is a confirmed nuclear event. And something shifts in the room. The word nuclear lands differently when it's official, when it's broadcast, when it's real. People had been operating in a kind of managed disbelief, going through the motions of response, without fully accepting the nature of what had happened. The broadcast removes that option. A man begins to weep, quietly, his hands on his knees. The woman with the children pulls them tighter. The man in the business suit stops, pressing his jacket to his leg and just stares at the concrete wall. You stare at your hands. He's shaking. His stop. What replaced the shaking is worse. A stillness. A hollow, functional stillness. Your body is conserving itself. Your brain has shifted into a mode it has only theoretical knowledge of. A mode built into human beings across millions of years of survival. You are no longer who you were this morning. You are something older, something simpler, something built only to continue. Time moves differently now, not slower, not faster, differently. In the parking structure, there is no clock, no phone signal to check the time. The light coming through the open sides of the structure shifts from the orange of fires to the dull gray of smoke-covered sky. You estimate hours, 3 hours, maybe. For some people sleep, not out of peace, out of the body's mandatory maintenance cycles. Humans sleep, even in war, especially in war. You do not sleep, you think. You think in 2 directions at once, the way the mind does when it has too much to process. Part of you is practical. That part takes inventory. What do you have? A phone, no signal, partial battery. A wallet, useless in most immediate survival contexts. A jacket, useful for warmth and as bandaging material. Half a bottle of water someone shared with you. Shoes. Your own legs, your own mind. That part catalogs your location, your health, your options. The other part of your mind is doing something else entirely. That part is visiting everyone. You know, it moves through them like a hand moving through a drawer in the dark, searching by feel. Your family. Your home, your friends, the places that make up the geography of your life. All of them are now uncertain. Some of them, the ones who are in the city, are certainly gone. You don't know which ones. You won't know for a long time. This uncertainty is its own specific kind of suffering. It is different from grief. Grief knows what it has lost. This is something that does not have a name yet. This is the period before you are allowed to grieve, and the mind, in the absence of information, generates possibilities. It generates every possibility, including the good ones. They weren't in the city. They were at home. They saw the flash in time. They are in a shelter like this one. They are alive. The hope is not irrational. Some of them may be right. You hold on to them, the good possibilities, without believing them completely. Belief costs too much right now. You hold them with a light hand. You'll think about who you were yesterday, your problems yesterday, the thing that was worrying you, something trivial that you could not even reconstruct clearly now. It has already been displaced. Whatever it was, it is solved by scale, by comparison, by the fact that it belongs to a world that no longer exists. Yesterday's version of you would not recognize today's version. Yesterday's version had a different definition of normal. Today, normal has been replaced by functional. Functional means breathing. Functional means dry. Functional means protected. Functional means alive. You are functional in this hour, in this parking structure, in the dust and the dark and the ringing ears and the blistering arm. That is enough. That has to be enough. You look at the others. The man with the leg wound has accepted help from the woman with the children. She is a nurse. She tells him, not a trauma nurse, a pediatric nurse, but she has hands that know what they are doing. And she wraps his leg with calm competence. The man cries while she works, not from pain, from something else. She doesn't tell him to stop. She just keeps grafting. But children watch her work with solemn faces. They are learning something in that moment, something about what people do when things become real. A teenager with a backpack opens it and distributes what he has: energy bars, a rain jacket, a small flashlight. He asks for nothing in return. He doesn't look proud. He looks like someone who finally knows what their hands are for. An old man. He's found a way to sit that faces the entrance of the stairwell. He watches the entrance with calm, steady eyes. He doesn't explain this. He doesn't need to. Everyone in the group has made an unspoken decision to function as something together, not a community, something more urgent and more temporary, a unit. You stay in the shelter for 24 hours. This is the recommended minimum. The emergency broadcast has been consistent on this point. Radioactive. Decay is rapid in the first hours. An isotope that is intensely radioactive at hour 1 may be 90% less radioactive by hour 7, the rule of sevens. For every 7-fold increase in time after detonation, radiation levels drop by a factor of 10. 1 hour, baseline, 7 hours, 1-10th, 40-9 hours, 1-100th, 2 weeks, 1,000th. Staying inside for the first 24 hours dramatically reduces your total radiation dose. You do not go to the open sides of the parking structure. You move as little as possible. You conserve water. You eat small amounts. You sleep in shifts, not organized, but naturally, the way animals do. When it is morning, or what you calculate to be morning, the light has changed. The orange of fires has dimmed. The sky visible from the protected interior is gray-brown. The smoke from the firestorm has dispersed into a canopy. It covers the sky from horizon to horizon. The sun is visible only as a pale disk, diffused, ringed with haze. Temperatures have dropped. Overnight, not dramatically, but noticeably. The air that comes in is cold. The first person to leave to check the air, to check conditions, is the man in the business suit. His leg is wrapped. He moves carefully. He goes to the edge of the structure and looks out. He comes back. He says, "It is quiet. No more blast sounds, no sirens, no helicopters, no traffic, quiet that is not peaceful, the kind of quiet that used to belong only to very remote wilderness. Now it belongs here. 2. A city. 2. The edge of a city. 2. Everything within range. You gather what you have. The group has made a decision together, without a meeting, without a vote, mutual aid. You leave together, not toward the city, away from it. The emergency broadcasts when they came through, named collection points. Schools, stadiums, community centers, outside the affected zone. Points where relief was being organized, was present. Tense, you have to believe it is still present tense. You walk the streets, are covered in a gray-white dust that looks like concrete powder and ash, mixed together. Some of it is fallout that arrived earlier than expected. You cover your nose and mouth with fabric. Everyone does. You breathe through the cloth. You try not to touch your face. The city on the horizon is unrecognizable in skyline. Not from here. From here you can see where buildings used to make a certain shape against the sky. The shape is wrong now. Gaps stop toppled structures. The absence of things that were so constant in the skyline that you never consciously noticed them. You notice them now. By their absence you walk past a car that is stopped in the road. Engine off. No driver, a coat on the passenger seat, a child's backpack in the rear window. You don't stop. You walk past a building that has one wall completely removed. Like a doll's house, you can see every floor. A living room exposed to the air. Couch still in place. A kitchen. Cabinets open. Dishes on the counter. A bedroom. Bed still made. A cross-section of someone's ordinary life. Open to the sky. You walk past a dog. It is sitting on the steps of a house. It watches your group pass with calm, dark eyes. It stops. Someone tries to call it. It doesn't come. It stays on the steps, waiting you. Keep walking. The nurse is carrying one of the children. The child's legs wrap around her waist automatically, the way children attach to adults. The other child walks beside her, holding the hem of her jacket. The old man who watched the entrance of the stairwell walks at the back of the group. He still watches Dot, just in a different direction now. 2 hours of walking. The dust in the air is lighter here. The sky is still grey, but the brown tinge has faded. You see people, more people, moving in the same direction, the same wordless migration away from the center. Some are pushing shopping carts, some are carrying nothing, some are walking in the wrong shoes, formal shoes, high heels, the shoes of people who did not plan for this morning. None of them planned for this morning. A group of construction workers joins the flow. They have hard hats, they have dust masks. One of them has a large, orange first aid kit. They merge into the movement without being asked. The old man in your group nods at the construction workers. They nod back. There is language in that nod, a whole conversation in a nod. You reach the collection point as the light is failing. It is a large secondary school. Its windows are intact here. Its walls are standing. There are vehicles, military and civilian, mixed. There are people in protective gear. There are tents going up in the parking lot. There is a generator running. There are lights. There is a table with water and food. You stop at the edge of the parking lot. You look at it. Dot. Your legs keep wanting to walk, and you have to consciously stop them. Your body has not accepted yet that walking is over, that something is here. Someone in a reflective vest approaches your group. They are counting you. They are asking if anyone needs immediate medical attention. The nurse raises her hand for the man with the leg wound. The person with the reflective vest nods and gestures for you to follow. You follow. Dot. You enter the light. This is not the end. This is not a return to before. This is the beginning of the after. And the after is not a temporary condition. The after is the new world. In the days and weeks following the detonation, things happen in a sequence that is predictable. Not because anyone has experienced this. No modern population has survived a large urban nuclear strike. Predictable because it follows the physics and biology of what nuclear weapons do and what human beings do in response. The immediate crisis blast, heat, radiation, fades by degree, but the secondary crisis assembles itself from the ruins of the first. Water is the first great problem. Municipal water systems depend on pumping stations. Pumping stations depend on electricity. Electricity infrastructure within the affected zone was destroyed or disabled. Even where systems survive, pipes may be broken. Contamination from fallout reaching reservoirs becomes a concern. Boiling water helps with biological contamination. It does not help with radiological contamination. Bottled water is consumed within days. Distribution lines form. They are long. People stand in them without complaint. For the most part, occasionally there are problems. Fear makes people irrational. Fear of scarcity makes even rational people behave in ways they will later struggle to recognize. But the large-scale social collapse that fiction loves to depict, it is not the dominant story. The dominant story is cooperation under pressure. Human beings, across virtually every disaster on record, largely help each other. They share, they organize, they wait in lines, they save each other. The looting and violence happen at the margins. They are real, they are not the center. Food is the second great problem. Supply chains feeding a modern city are complex, long, and fragile. The trucks stopped. The warehouses closest to the blast were destroyed. What remains is redistributed by improvised logistics, volunteers, military personnel, anyone with working vehicles and knowledge of the geography. Rationing begins within 72 hours. People complain about the rations, then they eat them. Shelter's the third great problem. The population displaced from the city is massive, tens of thousands. Depending on yield and geography, schools, gyms, community centers fill within hours. Churches open their doors without announcement. Strangers offer spare rooms. Strangers offer floors. Strangers offer whatever they have. Tent cities go up in parks and fields outside the contaminated zone. They are cold, they are crowded, they are improbably functional. People make them functional by doing what people do. Complaining and then solving. Arguing and then cooperating. Breaking and then mending. Medical teams rotate through the collection points. The injuries they treat most are not the cinematic injuries of disaster films. They are respiratory problems from smoke and dust inhalation. They are infected burns. They are gastrointestinal illness from contaminated water consumed before warnings reached everyone. They are trauma responses, acute stress, dissociation, panic attacks in people who held themselves together for days and then could not anymore. They are the particular suffering of people who do not yet know what happened to the people they love. Radiation sickness manifests in the population. Over days it presents in waves, and the timing tells doctors approximately what dose the person received. The first wave is nausea, vomiting, fatigue within hours. This passes and the person may feel better for a period of days. This is the latent phase. It is not recovery. Then comes the second wave, hair loss, infection, bleeding, the body's immune system beginning to fail. The medical response is overwhelmed. The doctors work without rest. The nurses work without rest. Medical students work alongside. Experienced professionals, people with first aid training are integrated into the response. People with no training at all are asked to carry things, to sit with people, to hold hands, to do the things that do not require training, because touch matters, presence matters. Even in a radiation tent, having a hand to hold matters. The mental health crisis is severe and begins immediately. Post-traumatic stress is not a future concern, it is a present one. People who experienced the blast but escaped physical injury are not uninjured. Their nervous systems have been fundamentally altered by what they witnessed, by what they survived, by what they do not yet know about who did not survive. The grief, when it arrives with confirmation, is enormous. The grief is individual and collective at the same time. A city mourning itself, a population mourning each other. Memorials begin spontaneously, before anything is organized, before any official ceremony. People simply begin placing things, flowers, photographs, objects, at certain points. It is entirely instinctive. Humans have been marking death this way for at least 40,000 years. No catastrophe has changed this instinct. No catastrophe has ever changed this instinct. You are there for one of these spontaneous memorials. You watch people add to it. You notice an old woman placing a small potted plant at the base of a damaged traffic signal. You do not know who she is mourning. You do not ask. You stand next to her for a moment. She looks at you. You look at her. No words are said, but something passes between you. Something that does not require language. Something that has never required language. You place your hand briefly on her shoulder. She puts a hand on top of yours. Then she walks away. The environment changes over the coming weeks. The most acutely radioactive isotopes decay. Iodine-131 is largely gone within a month. Monitoring teams survey the contamination levels across the affected zone. They draw maps. Red zones uninhabitable for years. Orange zones accessible with protective equipment for short periods. Yellow zones habitable with monitoring and precautions. Green zones safe for normal activity. Your building, your street, your neighborhood, it gets a color. For some people, the color means they can go home. For others, it means home is gone, not just structurally, gone in the soil, gone for a decade, gone for a generation. The people who cannot go home mourn this separately from everything else, from the deaths, from the injuries. The loss of place is its own specific category of loss. The ground you walked on as a child, the tree you knew, the corner you always passed, all of it sealed. behind a boundary marked by signs with radiation symbols. The signs are official, bureaucratic, cold. They do not know what they are standing in front of. They do not know what they are telling people they can never touch again. The recovery is not linear. There is no steady progression from destroyed to rebuilt. There are days of progress and days of setback. Supply chains stabilize and then a new problem emerges. Housing solutions are found and then found to be inadequate. Medical resources improve and then a new wave of illness arrives. But the direction, taken over months and years, is forward. The city does not disappear. Cities do not disappear. Hiroshima was struck in 1945. Today, nearly 1 million people lived there. The city hosts international peace ceremonies. Children go to school there. People fall in love there. The trauma is part of the city's identity, permanent, acknowledged, honored, but the city lives. The city insists on living. This is not optimism. This is observed, historical fact. Human beings are extraordinarily difficult to permanently defeat. They return to the places that were hurt. They rebuild the things that were taken. They name children after the dead. They plant gardens in contaminated soil. Once the soil is safe, they hold festivals. They tell stories. They refuse, collectively, stubbornly, irrationally, beautifully, to let catastrophe be the final word. The new world is not the same as the old world. It cannot be. It will not pretend to be. The people who lived through it are not the same people they were before. They carried the before inside them, but they are made of after. Their laughter sounds the same and means something different. Their silence is a deeper and whole more. They notice things that did not matter before. The color of the sky, the temperature of water, the sound of birds that returned to areas they had vacated. And the birds do return. This is something the disaster literature often forgets. The wildlife returns before almost anything else. The birds return, the deer return, the small, persistent plants push up through contaminated ground, because the ground wants to be ground. The Chernobyl exclusion zone, abandoned by humans for decades, has become one of the most biodiverse wildlife areas in Europe. The foxes came back, the wolves came back, the lynx came back. They did not wait for permission. Nature doesn't wait for permission. It simply returns when the pressure is reduced, and the pressure slowly and evenly, incompletely, is always reduced. You are standing outside. It is an ordinary morning, later than before. Months have passed. The sky is blue, not the same blue as before. You know more about blue now. You know that blue sky means absence of ash. It means the smoke has cleared. It means the firestorm eventually burned out. It means something is not in the air today. You know the sky now. You look at your forearm. The burns have healed, not cleanly. There is texture there that wasn't there before, a topography of what happened. You run your finger along it sometimes, not because it hurts, because it is information, because it is a record. You are back in the city, parts of it, the green zones, the yellow zones, with your dosimeter on your belt. Some buildings are already being cleared, some are already being rebuilt. The construction sounds are the best sounds you have heard. Hammering, machinery, the physical noise of something being made. You walk a street. You used to walk every day. You recognize the shape of it, the curve, the slope, the way the light falls at this hour. But the specific objects are mostly gone. The businesses, the facades, the things that gave it its identity. You carry the memory of them. You are one of the people who remembers what was here. This makes you something, a record, a witness. There is a weight to that. You will carry these streets in your memory, the way you carry the dead. Internally, not displayed, accessible when needed. The people you were with in the parking structure, you know some of them still. The nurse, the man with the leg wound, the old man who watched the door. You are not close in the ordinary sense. You did not choose each other. You were assigned to each other by circumstance, by readiness, by proximity to an event. But there is something between you that who does not have a common word. Something that comes from having been in the same darkness together. Something that is not friendship, not family, but real, absolutely real. You'll meet sometimes. You don't always talk much. Sometimes you just sit together, and the sitting is enough. The teenager who distributed everything from his backpack is in university now. He studies emergency management. He told you this very simply, without drama, like it was obvious. like it had always been coming. You think about the dog on the steps. You have thought about the dog many times. You hope someone came back for it. You think someone probably did. You choose to believe someone did. The sky is blue today. That air quality monitor on your phone reads acceptable. You put your phone in your pocket. You walk. You notice everything you pass. You have always done this since that day. Noticed everything. The texture of walls. The smell of food from restaurants reopening. The specific color of autumn. Leaves on a tree that was not destroyed. This tree right here was here before. It was here during. It is here after. It lost its leaves in the winter and grew them back in the spring. Because that's what trees do. That's what everything does. Everything that can you stop under the tree. You look up through the leaves at the blue sky. The light filters through. In green and gold, you'll stay there for a moment. Just a moment. Just standing. In ordinary light, under a living tree, breathing acceptable air. This is not a small thing. This is not a given thing. This is something you know. Now, the cost of ordinary, the weight of blue sky, the particularly impossible gift of a Tuesday. You were standing outside. It was an ordinary Tuesday, and you learned what ordinary means. You will never forget what ordinary means, and maybe if you tell this clearly enough, neither will anyone who watches this.